Hi folks, welcome back to the show. I'm here with my son Seth today, and we had a really nice time right around Father's Day going out to Chandeleur Islands, and it was really good to have him along. You've been fishing with me before a lot, especially when we first came down here, but not as much lately, doing other stuff, but you've gone out with me twice this year. So he was in one of my other recent videos. We were fishing for, we're topwater fishing up in the fog, as I remember, far up in the marsh. So that was fun. Anyway, had a great time going out to Chandeleurs and just kind of exploring out there. And so I wanted to hear your perspective because you're fresh to it. You have fresh eyes.
Yeah, my first time ever wade fishing.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, I'm kind of new to wade fishing too, but you're really new to wade fishing. And you're new to a couple of things, I think, that I'm doing differently now than when you used to fish with me a lot, like the hard baits.
Yeah,
because I think
I'm used to live baits or at least rubber.
Yeah, or like the popping cork.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because when we came down here in 2011, we used to fish mostly with jigs and popping corks with jigs on them, which is the same thing. And those were kind of some rough time. Those early days, we didn't catch much. I used to take you out. You were still really young.
It was a time of discovery.
I didn't really know how to fish that well back then. I mean, I knew how to fish. I fished my whole life. We came down here and the speckled trout and the marsh is just crazy.
It's different. It's a different environment.
Totally different. I mean, you were fishing for bass in our pond when you were like 3 years old.
Yeah, I'd never heard of trout.
Yeah. And you were reeling in bass when you were 3 years old by yourself, doing everything. But yeah, it's just totally different. And you come down here and you think that, the water's so beautiful. There's so much water. There must just be fish everywhere. But in fact, there aren't. You got to look for them. You got to find them.
And even when there are, they're not always biting.
That's right. That's a very good point. Till it's a little bit rough. But we had more of a exploring day. It was a good day to go out with Seth because instead of some of my other hardcore fishing buddies that we go out, we just fish, we don't do anything. But this time we're both interested in getting on the island itself, walking around, looking at things.
I was very interested in exploring.
Yeah, and I really want to do that too. And so we went up to the main island. We were fishing on the little more to the south, but went up to the main island where there was more vegetation, more of a continuous beach up there. And what did you think of the island or that beach compared to other beaches? You've been on lots of beaches.
For not being like a well-kept, like, professional tourist spot, it was a very nice, serene kind of beach.
Yeah. I think that's one of the big differences. Really special about the Chandeleur Islands is that it doesn't have any tourists, and it also looks.
It kind of the name fits for me, like chandelier, because they're kind of like delicate and shiny and. So, nice. So that's something about the island being untouched, and I think the name fits.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it doesn't have any kind of polished look to it. You know how Florida just looks so polished, and the beach. You just look down the beach, and it's just a continuous strip. Everything's just like perfect. This was really. It wasn't so. I mean, there was sand on it, but also. It was kind of a hard-packed surface. I think it has a lot of clay in it between the sand particles because it wasn't like a real sandy. It was a lot of little shells. It must have a lot of clay surface. That's different than I expected. I expected more sand, like deep sand. You step in. But, when we waded out in the water, it was solid. You didn't sink down.
Yeah.
You stand in sand and you sink down as the waves move the sand around your feet. Wasn't like that at all. So also, we were fishing on the surf side. We were fishing at the island just like dropped right off. You know, that line there where I was fishing. So it was
Yeah.
the cloudy water, and then
it got dark very quickly.
Yeah. It was a drop off, and the lures got caught on there. I lost at least one lure jig got stuck on the shelf. So it's totally different than Florida, where it's just like a kind of like a taper. Of course, it's got troughs as well, but the only way you could form that, I think, is if you have a lot of clay, because clay holds things together. Then you can chew away a surface, and you'll still have a steep shelf there.
Yeah.
I don't think you could get that with a lot of sand. So I think it has surf on there. But yeah. So what are some of the things that you saw on the island?
Well, the first thing I saw was fish. I mean shells.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a lot of shells, and I enjoy kind of hunting for them because it's like a little natural treasure hunt.
Yeah.
And the fish, the life in general.
Yeah.
There was a lot of life. There was like I just standing there at normal ground level, I could see fish swimming around in the water.
Yeah.
And I saw a lot of crabs when I went wading in at the beach, and I really wanted to catch one.
Yeah.
I wished we had a chicken leg and some string.
Yeah.
But
yeah. You know, we had that shark come up on us.
Yeah.
And
well, I didn't see it, but
yeah. Well, it's in the video. I haven't showed you that, but it was all caught on video. I think it was a bull shark. It came up almost between us, and we're standing in like almost knee deep, maybe a little more knee deep water, really shallow water, and it was 3 to 4 feet long. And yesterday I saw some huge stingrays. I told you that. I didn't show you
I forgot about the stingrays on our trip.
Yeah.
That huge line of them. That was.
Oh yeah, those were the bull. There's some kind of ray, I think it's a bullnose ray.
Yeah, that was very impressive.
Here is this
life.
Here's the stingray I saw yesterday.
Yeah, he's really coming up to you.
Yeah, he almost like he came right at me to check me out, and then he kind of pauses here. He's like that big eye, like looking at me.
Yeah, they're like little dogs. Ooh.
See,
coming to investigate.
Yeah, but that thing was literally like this big, and its tail was thick, massive.
Wow.
Man, if that thing would hit you, probably go right through my leg, hit me in the shin.
It could do some damage.
Definitely do some damage. It was a little bit scary. Not scary. I didn't know what to expect. I mean, I think I kind of know they don't attack you like like a shark would come attack you because they're not trying to eat you. Right?
Yeah.
So you don't want to step on it. But actually I kicked up another one that was just as big.
You stepped on it?
I didn't step on it, but you know how we walk.
Shuffled into it.
We kind of shuffle along, and it kicked.
Well, that's why.
Yeah, I was a couple feet away from it, but I didn't see it was like laying down in the grass. But yeah, so you found some shells as well.
Yeah.
And
so I brought home one that had the best color, I think. Mm-hmm. Just kind of a burnt orange, reminds me of a tiger or something. And then I found, so there were a lot of those, and then I found one of these little spiral ones.
Yeah.
So I was excited to find, I was excited to find the first one, but then I found this one, which was really impressive.
Yeah. And that is, from what I saw, that would be called a whelk. A whelk shell.
Is it a type of conch? Or
no,
that's a whole different animal?
Yeah, it's a different animal. I don't think you could find this on a Florida beach.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
Partly because if this thing did wash up completely, I mean, it's completely undamaged. Completely undamaged, perfect. Somebody else would have got there before you did.
Yeah.
So that, there's a million people on the beach, and there are some people whose livelihood is finding shells and selling them. This is worth, I don't know what this is worth, $20 maybe. A shell shop.
Depends on the salesman, I guess.
You think it should be more?
No, I don't think I would pay for that. Is the thing.
$20.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's a problem. I mean, this is so amazing. That the shapes of this thing are so amazing. But what do you do with shells? That's the problem. But I mean, look at them and enjoy them. So I mean, if you're gonna have a shell, it should be a perfect one like this, not like half of one. Like you go to a Florida beach, you find a half of one of these things.
You find a fourth of a sand dollar if you go to Florida beach.
Right. So, but that's one of the amazing things about the chandeliers. It's it's just raw. It's absolutely raw. It looks a little bit raw. It doesn't look groomed. Like I think the Florida beaches sometimes.
It smells like dead fish in a few places, which is part of the.
Yeah, that's right. And it had, so the week before that Cristobal, the tropical storm. I still don't know how to pronounce the name of it. That tropical storm would have washed completely over it for sure. So, it's amazing.
All the grass was really blown back.
You could see.
And that's where the most shells collected.
Oh, yeah.
I guess there was some
washed up against that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the wade fishing. So, what did you think of the wade fishing as a method of fishing?
Definitely. Well, I found it more interesting because you have a lot more freedom to move around, and also after spending so much time out there on the boat, it was a very interesting, novel experience to step out of the boat.
Yeah.
Where normally it would have probably sunk to the bottom.
Yeah.
But now I can walk around and explore a little bit. And it's I found that I was passing out on some earlier fishing trips. I remember just like curling into a ball in the front of the boat and going to sleep because it was so hot.
It's still hot, yeah.
And and when you're standing in the water, I really had no issue with temperature.
Right. Yeah, I know.
Although it did wash my sunscreen off. And I got a little burn.
A little sunburn, yeah. Yeah, that's something I hadn't thought about when I was thinking of wading purely from kind of stealth and maybe having fishing advantages, but actually keeping me cool is not something I was thinking about. And yeah, I can't fish sometimes into the afternoon in the summer. I get overheated.
Yeah.
I have to get ice cubes and like put it on my head, put wet rags, cold rags under my hat, try to stay cool. I'll start getting a headache, and I can get a migraine headache. So it can't be out there.
Yeah.
And that was amazing. Get out. It was like bath water, at least the afternoon. It was so comfortable being out there in the water. And yeah, it is nice being able to just walk around. After you spend some time wade fishing, you realize how restricted you are in a boat. And you got to think about your casting, make sure you don't hit anybody else, and you got to watch out where you walk. You don't want to fall, and of course,
you got to keep your balance and everything.
Yeah, wade fishing it's a really different experience, and I'm enjoying it so far, and I've done it out there now.
And I mean, you still get both. You get both of the experiences out there.
Right.
'Cause you can still, I mean, you drive out there in the boat, and you can still fish from the boat.
That's right.
And then you have the freedom to do both.
Yeah. Well, so I think unfortunately the water was about 85 degrees yesterday, and the trout weren't biting well yesterday. It wasn't like when we were out there 2 weeks ago. I mean, it might have just kind of been a bad day, kind of a day off. But what I'm hearing from my friends that fish out there a lot is that when the water starts getting really hot, then if you're wade fishing up there, you're going to catch a lot more small fish. The big fish, except very early in the morning, the big fish aren't up there where you can wade fish. They're in deeper water where it's cooler. And I know this, I know that this is what happens in the summer, because one of the big things I do in the summer is fish rigs. Like, out of Leeville, I'll go out and fish rigs or jetties, so deeper water, and that's where the trout are. So, therefore, going forward this summer and in regard to the Chandeleur Islands. I don't know how much more I'm going to be going out there.
It's a big trip out there for sure.
It is.
I really like the skies out there, the clouds and the colors, and it just seems so huge and
yeah. We saw some really nice clouds when we were out there that time. We didn't really find many trout. I think we caught a couple trout until in the morning. We basically had to wait until the tide changed in the afternoon. So the tide changed around noon, and then when we went back to that first spot we were at, and then it was just trout on every cast. As soon as we stepped out of the boat, just hammered on them. And so I'm glad that worked out. That seemed to be the pattern. That's what a couple people saw recently. Sometimes you just got to stick it out. Well, it's like you said before, the trout may be there, they're just not feeding. So when things aren't right, they don't feed. They don't need to eat all the time, they just need to eat some of the time. So they're going to eat when the conditions are the best for them to feed efficiently. So anyway, hey, thanks for watching. Just another series, episodes in this series of island fishing, and I'm going to be certainly getting out to some other islands. If not the Chandeleurs this summer, there's plenty of other islands to fish on that are easier to get to, closer to get to, and still provide some really good fishing. So anyway, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. It does help the algorithm. It helps people to get notifications of it, and share if you would like, and subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you again soon.